Researchers at NYU looked at our prison population and found that we could save billions of dollars every year if we just allowed all of these nonviolent, low-level prisoners to not be in prison anymore. They found that almost 40% of U.S. inmates imprisoned don't necessarily have to be imprisoned. So let me give you some examples. And again, this was a study by researchers at NYU. So they found that the U.S., which is home to less than 5% of the world's population, is responsible for the incarceration of nearly 25% of the world's inmates. So that kind of shows you that we have a little bit of a prison industrial complex here where we just lock people away when they should be getting community service or possibly treatment if they have a drug addiction. Now, researchers analyzed both federal and state criminal codes in addition to convictions and sentences of roughly 1.5 million inmates who are serving sentences for 370 different crime categories. And here are the numbers that they found. 25% of these inmates are nearly all nonviolent, low-level offenders and could be sentenced to community service or probation rather than prison. Okay, but because of strict sentencing like mandatory minimums or 3 strikes policies, they go to prison for low-level offenses. Now, 14% of inmates have served sufficient sentences that could warrant their release with little to no risk to public safety. Understand that these are people that these researchers are specifically saying do not pose any type of risk or safety concern to the general public. Also, letting the 576,000 inmates, 39% free, could save $20 billion annually.
I think this war on drugs that led to this prison industrial complex and now the private prisons and all these people who shouldn't be in prison being forced into there and costing us so much money, and more importantly, their freedom, is, of course, madness. But I'm going to go further than that and say it's literally a crime. You're taking away people's liberty on a health issue. Imagine if you got sick and you got pneumonia, and they said, "Okay, that's it. We're going to lock you up, and we're going to lock you up with some serious criminals." And if you make the mistake of not listening to one of the guards, and not all the guards are reasonable, then you're going to go in the hole, and you're going to go into solitary confinement. And then we're going to add on things to your, sentence. And it goes on and on. So we've created this new enslavement, and it's not just about black people. And yes, it disproportionately affects minorities. But as now Republicans are seeing throughout the country, oh my God, we're doing this to white people in Kentucky too when they have drug problems, right? And in New Hampshire and in all these places. We've been telling you all along, it's not just a bad idea. It's a crime against all of us, man. It's a crime against freedom and what we're supposed to stand for in this country. So I think President Obama doing something on a mass scale right before he leaves is probably unrealistic. But if I was President Obama, this would have driven me crazy for 8 years. I mean, I know that he made some efforts to do criminal justice reform, but as always with Obama, just incremental. So nice and easy.
Let me comment on that a little bit, because one good thing that Obama did fairly recently was, pushing to phase out the use of private prisons on a federal level. Now, states have contracts with private prisons, and the federal government can't really come in and do anything about that. If a state chooses to do it, they're going to do it. But on a federal level, the Obama administration decided, no, this is not the right way to go about it. We're going to phase it out. Now, Trump seems to be a supporter of private prisons, so he could very easily undo any type of progress that the Obama administration has made on this issue. But also understand that this incarceration rate is not a partisan issue. There are members on the right and the left that hate the fact that we imprison so many people, especially for low-level offenses. Now, they hate it for different reasons. Republicans hate the fact that we're spending so much of our tax money on imprisoning people who have drug addictions. There's also the issue of heroin abuse now, which disproportionately impacts the white community. And so, I don't know, do we want to imprison white drug addicts?
It turns out that this is just an illness.
It's just an illness, right?
It's not a crime. Why are you putting my cousin away? Bring Billy Bob back. So, and you're right about Billy Bob, but you're also right about all the other guys that we've been putting in prison for decades. It's killing us economically. It's killing the lives of those people, their families, and just philosophically, this is not what freedom looks like. So, yes, President Obama has made some progress here, also on criminal justice reform. And yes, some Republicans now, like Rand Paul, are beginning to see the light and helping to push forward on this. Let's pick up the pace. All those people, we're literally wasting their lives away inside those prisons. I know what you're thinking about the corporate media.
Oh, no, not again.
I hear you, brother. Luckily, there's the Young Turks, and you make it happen. Come join us, tytnetwork.com/join.